Hey there, guys. Good morning. It is April 2nd, which, if you have been following me on Instagram for a while, you know that it's World Autism Day. And so, starting yesterday and then today and for the rest of the month, I will be wearing blue every single day to show my awareness and acceptance and love and be the voice for those with autism. And I do this every year. I've been doing it for about 10 years now. So I've got my blue jacket, we've got our blue plaid dress on, but that is not the point of today's video. In today's video, we are going to do a little book chat while we drive to work. So this is going to be another morning commute and book talk video. I hope you guys liked the last one. And like I said in my last video when I did one of these, this is really just a good time for me to film these videos because I'm in the car and I do film them hands-free, and it just allows me to kind of use my time to the maximum, so that way when I get home I don't have to worry about setting aside time, which I like to use for self-care and reading and playing my Switch and all those things that are just like meant for rest and relaxation and less about producing content. So if you're new here, I'm Caitlin, like I said, your geeky girlfriend, and on this channel you can find all sorts of book reviews. There's movie review stuff on here, there's Disney stuff, which is what was recently posted, and I'm still working on more content from my last little getaway last weekend, or 2 weekends ago now, which is crazy. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into today's video. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the book The Beach Club by Elin Hildebrand, and the next series of videos are going to be they're all books from like my personal collection, and so I don't often have those with me when I film these videos. It's the library ones that are usually in the car with me, but you can check the thumbnail. Sometimes I put the covers in there, but anyway, let's talk about The Beach Club. So this is my second Elin Hildebrand book, and in case I haven't mentioned it yet, I am doing a little rainbow challenge right now where I'm reading books of different colored spines. So I started with A Uterus is a Feature, Not a Bug, which had a red spine, and then After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which was orange spine, and this book, The Beach Club, was my yellow spine book. And it's been a fun little challenge. It's also been a great way to read some of the books that I already have and get them off of my shelf, because I keep finding more at the thrift store and at half price books, so I keep adding more books to my collection and not really dwindling my collection at all. And I have said it before here on the page as well, but I'm a one-time reader, so I read something once and then I typically don't read it again, just because I feel like the emotions and the suspense and the drama and everything that you experience when reading a book for the first time just are unmatched when you read it for a second time. The only I have like 2 exceptions to that, and they were books that I previously did not finish and then I was able to read again. So, like I said, this is my second Elin Hildebrand book. I did read The Hotel Nantucket, which has a review on this page as well. I read that one over the summer, I think, last summer, kind of in the fall, like September-ish. And it was a fun little story. And these both take place kind of in the same universe. So all of Elin Hildebrand's books take place in Nantucket Island. And in The Hotel Nantucket, she kind of mentioned the beach club, but in the beach club, she didn't really mention any of the characters or anything about the Hotel Nantucket. So I'm not sure which one came first, the chicken or the egg, or I think Hotel Nantucket came after the beach club in terms of published date. But anyway, let's get into the review. And as you know, if you've been following me for a while and this is not your first review that you're watching, I try and keep these reviews mostly spoiler free. Sometimes I will put the spoilers in my Goodreads review. If you follow me over there, it's at Caitlin M, your geeky girlfriend over on Goodreads. I'm gonna try and put the link to my Goodreads in the description of this video. I've tried it before and it didn't quite work, so we're gonna try it again. And I do more full reviews or put a little bit more detail into those reviews sometimes. Just kind of depends on how I felt about the book. This one was pretty detailed. I try to write them on Goodreads right after I finish the book. So anyway, I'm blathering. Let's get on with it. So this book took me about maybe 5 or 6 days to read. It kind of started off slow. There's a lot of character introductions, a lot of scene world building, for lack of a better word. This is not a fantasy book, but she's setting the scene, she's letting you know who all these characters are, and this is one of those books where all of the storylines kind of intertwine at some point. So you'll go through one chapter and hear the perspectives of 3 to 4 different characters, and the book takes place over the span of the summer, from the first couple of weeks of May to the first weeks of September. And so it takes place over like those 4 or so months, and the timelines really are a bit vague. That was one of the critiques I had overall, is like it's hard to tell. Like one chapter could take the place of like weeks. It could take, because she has like the first weeks of May, Memorial Day weekend, then she breaks it up into like those weeks in June. So each chapter is a few weeks of time, and that's kind of vague. It's not really clear how much time it is. So that was one of the critiques I had. This story, like I said, it follows multiple characters and through multiple journeys of life, multiple stages and phases of life. But I would say that the main character is Mac Peterson, who is kind of the guy who runs the hotel. He's like your concierge, your go-to person. And there's this underlying storyline about this other unknown entity who wants to buy the hotel. Mac is kind of struggling between, does he want to stay on Nantucket or whatever? And there's also this whole storyline between him and his girlfriend, and if they're going to get married or not. So Mac has a lot going on, but we don't, like, honest to goodness, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but Mac is really non-committal, and it kind of gets annoying after a while. But anyway, the story for me started off really slow, and then it does come up. It like picked up a lot in the middle chunk. We kind of get some juicy gossip, we get some tea, we get some drama, and then it just kind of dwindles back down. And then at the very end, when everything is kind of tying up, we get a little bit more of a perk up. But overall, I would say the Hotel Nantucket had a better story development overall, in my opinion, because the Hotel Nantucket, while it started slow, once it picked up, it kind of kept going up, and the story and the characters, like, you just fell in love with these characters. And I had a really hard time getting attached to any of the characters in this story. And I really didn't love any of them. They all had their flaws, which as do all humans, but there was not a single character that I was like, oh yeah, I really like this character, with the exception of James. And James is such a minor part in the book. He's only in the first section, but I like want an entire novel about him and his mom. And so if you are a big Elin Hildebrand fan and know if she's written a book about James and Andrea, please let me know in the comments, because I would love to read an entire book just about the two of them, but they are only in like the second or third section, whichever one is talking about that, like the part in June. And so, yeah, I had a really hard time getting attached to any of the characters. I overall liked the theme of this book, like the gossipy kind of beach read drama. I love a good gossip read. And we've read a few of them in the past couple of years. I'm thinking of Evelyn Hugo. We're thinking things like The Devil Wears Prada. I would consider that a gossipy read. Things that kind of fall into that genre. I would not categorize The Beach Club as a romance. I would not consider it I would consider it, like I said, maybe a drama or your like gossip beachy read. Because it's low spice, which is great, and she typically writes for older, like my mom is a big fan of Elin Hildebrand, so typically her audience is a bit older than myself. But with that being said, I still enjoyed the Hotel Nantucket. You can find that review here on my channel, but this one just didn't hit for me. Overall, I think I gave it a 2-star on Goodreads, and then on Storygraph, I gave it a 2.75 because I felt it was a little bit better than 2 stars, but not good enough for 3. And on Goodreads, obviously, we only can work in the whole number stars, and since it wasn't good enough for 3 stars, I had to go with a 2. And I felt kind of bad about that, but at the same time, like I said, there really wasn't a character that I liked. I liked the chunk in the middle where it was like more drama and gossipy, but then after a while the characters all just really got annoying. I will say this scene with the hurricane was one of my favorites, which is ironic, but I love watching storms in real life, so reading one was like, I was really intrigued by that. trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about this book. There are a few triggers or things that could be triggering in this book. Lots of talk about death of parents, death of spouses, death in general. There's a lot of death in this book, and particularly this one is a little bit of a spoiler, but I'm not going to talk about which character it applies to. But there actually is talk of a stillbirth in this book, so you know, be kind of mindful if that is a trigger for you. It's not something that happens in the events of the book. It happens before the events of the book, and they just kind of talk about it in a series of flashbacks and just dealing with the grief and the trauma. But it's brought up quite often. And then the other thing that could be triggering for some is there is one character who her entire goal of the summer on Nantucket is to get pregnant. So she is trying to find a suitable man that can literally, all she wants is for him to impregnate her. And that is her whole goal while being in Nantucket. So if that is a trigger, or reading about, you know, I guess people getting lucky and doing it, just one time, and yeah. If any of that is a trigger for you, then maybe skip this one for a while and come back to it if it's on your list. Overall, based on the 2 Elin Hildebrand books that I've read, the Hotel Nantucket I definitely enjoyed more than the Beach Club, which is kind of depressing to me, kind of disappointing, because I was looking forward to reading the Beach Club more, I think. And this one wasn't even a question when I was considering all of my Yellow Spine books, and I remembered that I had the Beach Club. I was like, oh, that's what we're reading. So I really was excited to read it, and it just kind of let me down. And yeah, so that's kind of all I want to say about this one. Like I said, let me know in the comments if Elin Hildebrand wrote an entire book about Andrea and James, because I would love to read that. And also let me know in the comments if what Elin Hildebrand book is better than the Beach Club in your opinion, or which one I should read next. I do have, I think, the 5-Star Weekend and The Perfect Couple on my bookshelf at home. Maybe, possibly. But anyway, so I have a couple of others. Will I go out and read them this year? Probably not. It's probably going to be a once a year type of a thing for me, just to pick up and go, just when I need a filler book or something like that. I have some other authors that I'm trying to really move through this year. So yeah, let me know in the comments your thoughts about this one and which one I should read next. And also, let me know which you prefer, the Hotel Nantucket or the Beach Club. And now that you've watched both my videos, you can make that decision. And stay tuned, because we've got another book review dropping today, and also more Disney content from my last trip coming. So if you are new here, make sure you hit that red button and subscribe. You can hit that bell to be notified about all my latest videos. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.